Hi, my name is Malcolm Clemens Young. I'm the Dean of Grace Cathedral here in San Francisco, California. This is my More Good News broadcast for the last week of March. You notice that I'm standing behind the mural that commemorates the founding of Grace Church. You can see right here, there's a prospector, there's a gambler, there's the Reverend John Mehr, my predecessor, the first rector, and there's the church. You can see right down here, there's a little family of raccoons even. But I often think about this mural. I live about 2 blocks away from the graveyard where John Mehr buried 4 of his children. He suffered incredibly while he was here in San Francisco. He said it was really hard being a minister in San Francisco in 1849. There was one incident that he recounts in his memoirs that is especially powerful and memorable for me. You'll notice the ships out here. During the time of the gold rush, people flocked here from all over the world, and a military ship, a naval ship, arrived here called the St. Mary's. The St. Mary had a crew of 300 sailors, but 5 of them were taking a midshipman back to shore when they decided they were going to mutiny, run away, and go into the gold fields. And so they threw the midshipman overboard, and when he didn't seem to be drowning fast enough, they hit him with oars until he was still. And then they took off, and all 5 of the men in that boat were captured again, and the midshipmen survived the attack. And so the men were condemned to die, and John Mehr went to minister to them, and he had a very powerful experience. He basically gave communion to all 5 of them the day before they were supposed to be hanged. And that night, after 5 of them received communion, 2 of them who were brothers wrote a note saying that they were the ones responsible and asked the captain to let the other 3 off. And the captain the next morning agreed to do this. And so John Mehr went, and his own son was very sick that night. But when the captain of the ship called him, he went back to the ship for the hanging the next day. And he said what a powerful experience it was praying with this young man who was only 18 years old before being hanged at dawn. And he also, after the hanging, the 300 sailors on board were tremendously angry. And he talked about preaching to them and praying with them and helping them to recover from this terrible event that happened on board. But the good news behind all of this is that even in this crazy frontier environment, people were here to help. And wherever you go and people are in trouble, you'll also see other people who are there to help them. And John Mehr, his son was so sick that evening when he went back the next day, his son turned out to be okay. But it was an incredible story of a person who cared so much about doing ministry in the city that he would even leave the bedside of his child who seemed as if he was dying. Anyway, I'm so glad that you could join me in this cathedral, and I'm so glad that you could be here today for the message, and I look forward to when we can all be together again in person. Thank you for watching.